Hi everybody, this is David at You Made It. I'm here to talk to you today about painting your to-go kits with glazes. Glazes are ground up glass and clay floating in water, and they're provided in your kit. Remember not to use paints that you might have at home. They'll cross-contaminate your projects. Just stick with the paints that we sent with your kit. They will be shiny, washable, and food safe after firing. And if they look a little dull and pastel today, we promise they will get bright and beautiful after firing. A couple of ways to do a really great project is to remember that because your color is made of glass, it's very see-through. So if you want to do a solid color, paint the first coat on and let it dry a few minutes. Do a second layer, let it dry, and then do a third really thick coat to block out the white background and hide brush marks. That's the secret for doing a solid color. Also remember that because the paints are glass, they don't show up well on top of one another if you use a lighter color last. Always start with your lighter colors and move to your darker colors. Use darker colors on top, not lighter colors. As you can see, this handprint did not show up well on top of a blue background. Try and do lighter colors just on the white pottery itself. They'll show up best that way. When you're painting at home, I always like to have a jar of water handy because if I'm done with one color, I can wash my brush off, dry it off on a paper towel really well so it doesn't water the next color down, and then move right into the next color. You can also find fun things at home like toothbrushes. You just dip them in the paint, splatter your project with them. Once you're messy, you might as well get even more messy. You can flick paint at your pottery, and it washes right off of your clothes, so don't worry about making a mess. And if something goes wrong, you can always take a really clean sponge that's slightly damp, squeeze all the water out, and the paint will wash right back off. Don't run it underwater, just use a damp sponge and it'll clean right up. You can also use fun things at home, like stencils and stamps that you may have. Just make sure they're really clean from other paints so they're not cross-contaminated, and paint them lightly. And then press that stamp onto your pottery. Remember not to dip a stamp in a puddle, brush it on nice and thin, and then press it right onto your pottery. These work great with darker colors. You can also use things like rubber bands to press lines onto your pottery. You can paint an area, use any sharp point you can find, and scratch back through for fine detail. This is a great way to do writing because writing with brushes is harder than it looks. So this is a great way to do that. And any questions that you have about your projects that come up while you're working, please feel free to leave in the comment section below. We would love to help with your projects, just like we normally would at the studio. But since you're at home, leave a comment and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks so much. Happy painting.